Once upon a time, a young man was going through a very hard time in his life. He was suffering from a lot of mental pain due to various reasons. There was no peace in his life. The restlessness was increasing in his mind. He could not think of what to do. At that time, one of his friends told him about a Jain master of an ashram in a mountain valley far from that city. The young man decides to visit the Gurudev at the ashram and tell him all his problems. The next morning, he went to the ashram, bowed to Gurudev, and sat near him. The young man said, "Gurudev, I have many problems in my life and no happiness. I am in a lot of mental pain. Please tell me how I can be happy. I want to live a healthy and beautiful life." Gurudev was listening to the young man very attentively. After hearing the young man's words, Gurudev got up and left. The young man was surprised. He could not understand why Gurudev got up without saying a word after hearing his problem. The young man waited there for some time. After a long time, Gurudev returned with a glass full of water and a bowl of salt. Gurudev placed them in front of the young man and said, "Mix a handful of salt from this pot into the glass of water." The young man took a handful of salt and put it into the water as Gurudev said. The salt immediately melted and got mixed. Now Gurudev said, "You drink water." The young man was perplexed to hear Gurudev's words. But as Gurudev said, he took 2 or 3 sips of water and sat with the glass in his hand because the water was so salty that he could not drink it. Gurudev said, "How does the water taste?" The young man said, "Very salty, can't drink." Now Gurudev took the bowl of salt with him and said to the young man, "Come with me." Both Gurudev and the young man came to a water tank or a reservoir in the ashram, a short distance away. Gurudev said to the young man, "Now you mix a handful of salt in the water of this reservoir." The young man did as Gurudev said. Gurudev said to the young man, "You should drink water from the reservoir now." The young man took water from the reservoir with both hands and drank it 3 or 4 times. Gurudev said, "How does it taste? Feeling salty?" The young man replied, "Gurudev, this water tastes good. It does not taste salty at all." Gurudev and the young man sat down beside the water tank. Gurudev put his hand on the young man's neck and said, "O friend, mental pain of life is like the salt. The amount of mental pain in every life is the same, but the amount of feeling of pain depends on the extent of our thinking periphery. So, when mental pain comes into your life, there is only one thing you can do. Expand your thinking. Don't keep your thinking as small as a glass. Expand it like a big water tank." The young man bowed down to Gurudev and said, "Gurudev, I have been blind for so long. This teaching of yours taught me to think differently about my life in an instant. No matter how many problems and mental pains come into my life, I can dissolve them in the ocean of my thoughts." Friends, it is difficult to find people around us who have no problems and no pain in their lives. Problems are a part of life. Problems will always be there, but your solution depends on the periphery of your patience. Is your reservoir of patience as small as your glass or as big as a water tank? When your thinking and patience are weaker, the smaller problems of life will appear as bigger. And when your thinking and patience are stronger, the bigger problems of life will seem smaller. If there is no problem and sorrow in life, there will be no joy in life. If you worry too much about a problem, it increases the problem instead of reducing it. If there is a real problem and pain in life, that is the lack of big thinking. You have to enlarge your thinking and find out the real reasons for the problem through analysis. The work that should be done to solve, it should be done with extreme patience. Only then the problem and pain will end in a few days. Remember that the more difficult situations are in life, the more you have to be determined. If you can't fix your brain in hard and difficult times, you won't find a solution. Problems and mental pain will increase. Know yourself, calm your mind, and meditate on yourself through action. Good luck to all. Thank you.